What's up traders? Just one trade today on PAGS. Let's get to it.
PAGS, I'd love to see this get up through 3250 just because of the pre-market levels here. That's why I would like to see it a little bit more extended. Here we go. See if we can get through 50. Nope, came right back down. Trying again. See if we can get the push through. It's through. It's trying. It's not getting too much of a push here. A little spready here as well. There it goes. All right, we're going to start PAGS here. If we can get back down through 50, we'll look to take our 75%. Put an order out there at 35 for the majority. See if it wants to come down there and hit us. Like I said, I know we're a little bit on the smaller side with the share size, but I'm going to stick it out for the rest of this week just to get comfortable with using everything, the new setup per se. We'll go from there. There we go. We're almost on the bid there. Bit of a spread again here. There we go. We're actually on the bid. There we go. We actually got some fill. That would have been nice if we didn't have it sitting there. But we're going to put our stop at high of day now for the rest, and we'll let it go. So ended up shortchanging ourselves a little bit because of the spread. If we would have kind of let it go, we would have been a little better off there. But we're going to see if we can't ride this one out. We're going to stick to our take profit plan of using the pivots, and we're going to let this thing go. It would have been nice though to use the manual button, but it was so spready. I had a feeling we might get a dive through 50 and come right back up, but this thing just pretty much died. So that's why we are keeping 25% though. See if we can't get it to continue to the downside, maybe give us a little fade for the rest of the day. Yeah, like I said, I always try. It's right now it's at that previous resistance right here, right? I mean, it was one little tick there, but that's what I was looking at. And I always like to see it extend from there. That's what I look for. So we actually ended up with a pretty good entry there. We ended up at 78. The high was 83. So pretty close to a top tick there. For hitting the bid, and that's pretty close. Oh, you had an early entry, but look at that ad. That was perfect. And you had the nice patience to wait down towards 32 for that flush. Well done. Yep, we're going to let this play out. We're going to use the pivots on this one. Not making any more mistakes. Happy to take, it was actually, we had 15 shares, so 10 shares is what, 66%? It wasn't even really 75%. So technically we have a little bit more than we normally would, which will help out if it wants to continue. Like I actually front ran the previous resistance here. And I mean, technically this isn't necessarily previous resistance. You could really argue that it was actually down here, like right around here. Around 3150, which is where it's trying to get down to now. But it did give us a nice extension, and it did seem like it was kind of struggling there at that 32 area. So I really just kind of used that as the previous resistance, and I just kind of front ran it a little bit, especially because of the spread. So I was pretty happy to get out when I did. You can never expect it to flush like this, right? But it did, so I'm pretty happy with it. So now we're going to sit here and play the pivots, and hopefully we can get a nice exit. It hasn't even, so right now our pivot's still high of day, which kind of sucks. Imagine letting this thing go $1.20 back against you and stopping you out because you're playing the pivots, but that's part of the game. If you're going to use the pivots and that's your system, you have to do it. You have to do it every single time because there's going to be times where it goes back up and stops you out, but there's going to be times where this goes down to yesterday's lows. And so you always have to keep that in mind. I'm not sure if PAGS is on earnings though. It does appear that it might be, but we'll see what it does here. We're gonna let the pivots take us out, either make us some more money or kind of keep us where we're at. I'm interested to see what it does here at this 3150 area, which is where it's getting to now. Because now you have a lot of people underwater, right? All these people that were buying into this thinking this was going to continue, they're underwater now, so they have to make a decision. So if it does pop back up to 32 or even through 32, are they going to sit here and try to wait for it to go back to high a day? Or are they going to look to sell at break even or just for a small loss, etc.? And if this keeps dropping, then they're in some real trouble, right? Now they're essentially bag holders if they want to continue to hold. But looking at the hourly chart as well, the next real support level is down here at 29.68. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It would be pretty hard not to take the full trade if this were to plunge down towards 31. I will say that. But we'll see what we can do letting this work for us. Because that would just pretty much be a straight V coming straight back down, kind of like it's trying to do right here. Let's put a range in. I mean, if it wants to drop straight to 31, I feel like no. Okay, stop. So I say I'm already trying to talk myself out of using the pivots. I do think I am going to move it down to this 32.17 area though, even though that was a pretty quick pivot. Some would argue that's not even a pivot, and I would probably agree with them. But it would be pretty hard emotionally to let this thing go all the way back to high a day at this point. And there's the flush I was talking about. I figured we'd get a flush down towards 31 if we could get through that 31.50 area. You got a lot of people that were holding bags in here, a lot of people that were in down here that are saying, crap, this thing isn't going back up. Now I'm going to take my small profits or break even. And that's what you get. That's how you get these big sell-offs. The only problem is it's a pretty big sell-off with not a lot of volume. So that's the one iffy part about this. If we can get a breakthrough 31 here, I might just take it because that's a pretty big move to the downside. But if it wants to bounce and kind of consolidate here, we'll let it go. And that's just a pure feel, and it wouldn't be necessarily following the rules. But that's a pretty big move to the downside. It'd be pretty hard not to take it. When you get a pretty big move and it's most likely going to bounce back up, it's going to take a long time for it to come back down to that area again. We see that all the time, but it is bouncing a little bit here, so we'll let it work. Volume really dying down here, getting pretty slow. Always a little frustrating when that happens, right? You just want that instant gratification. Not instant, but you want it to keep working in your favor. You don't want to be sitting here all day. But again, that's the beauty of the pivots. You can just set it and kind of forget it. If you need to get up, you can get up, right? All right, we're gonna put in a range order here. Basically front running the current low of day, which is at 30.33. So we're going to look to just get down there towards 50. We're actually going to front run 50. I'm going to put it a little bit above that. So that way, if we get that dump through low of day, hopefully we can get our fill right there before the $0.50, and we'll be very happy with the trade. Here we go, headed back down towards the lows. All we want is that break of this candle here, the 72, and then we're looking for that snap down towards 50 to bring us down towards the lows of the day. And we'll be happy with that trade. Even though this could fade the rest of the day, we'll be happy with it. Like I said, the first real area of support that I see on the hourly is, we'd have to scroll back out. I mean, I could just pull this over, but it kind of looks bad. But it's over here. As you can see, that's what I was going off of, was that candle right there. That's where I get that 29.68 from. You never know what a stock's going to do. You can only put your money in when you think you have the best edge and the probabilities that it's going to do what you want it to do. If it gets back up into the 90s, I do fear that we are going to get stopped out. I will say that. Just from seeing stocks do this over and over again, if it can't budge through, if the sellers can't really step in and force this down, if it does get back into the 90s close to 31, we most likely are going to get this pop through 31. It's just the probabilities of seeing this over and over again. That would be what I would think are the odds. So we got the 72. What did we get down to there? 75, 73. So we almost got down. We basically double bottomed here. Just trying to use it as support. We were looking forward to bust through there to get down towards that 50 test. Try it one more time here, 75. If we get down into the 60s, I definitely think we're going to get our fill, because we're going to bust through. There's probably a bunch of stop losses sitting here. That's probably why it keeps testing it, right? You're looking for those supply zones. So hopefully we get a nice little pop to the downside to test 50 if we can get through. If we test 31, we're most likely going to pop through. There it is, coming up to 31 here. Had a feeling that little squeeze was going to happen if we couldn't break through the lows. Just something you see happen all the time, right? It's just how it works. So why didn't you sell at the lows, Tim? Well, because I was looking for the bigger move. We were still only risking that little bit right here above 31 to try to get down there towards 55. So we did bust through 31 there. Didn't quite get up to us. It got up to 02, I think. 015. Came right back down. A little bit of a fake out before trying the 50 test, maybe. And that's why I used the pivots, right? We were right above that pivot. There's some pretty big resistance sitting there, obviously at 3104 area, but that's why you use the pivots, right? This thing is just toying with us. We've given it such a short range in comparison to the move it's already made, and we just can't get it to make a move one way or the other. It's just consolidating in this little area. All right, if we get back down into the 70s, we're just going to take it because it does seem to be finding support here. So if we do get back into the 70s, we're going to just go ahead and take it. Now we'll give it an even tighter range. But yeah, you could tell this was probably going to happen. It was just finding too much support there. It tried to break through the lows and it didn't. So it found that liquidity that might have been there. But if we can break back down, it's trying to hold this as support. just like it was doing up here, using certain resistance areas, even here at 3104. Might shortchange ourselves by 2 cents here because I got it at 57, not 55. Coming down, there we go. Not going to be mad about 2 cents. There we go, we're on the bid. All right, we're going to take it there. So we ended up getting 60. Not going to be, it was kind of sitting there. I don't want this to jump back up like it looks like it's about to. Going to be pretty happy with that trade, guys. Pretty happy. And as you can see there, it goes back up into the 70s.
All right, traders, that was my trade on PAGS. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate that support. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.